Hello everyone and welcome back to Dark Marketing. I'm your host Big Dom. Let's get started. Okay everyone, try to bear with me in this because we're going to pretty much pick up where we left off on my last GSA. It's been 2 weeks since the last video and I had to take a pause because I got some new equipment in the office and had to rearrange systems, and even just when I juxtaposition two laptops, it disrupts my entire world because I know where everything is mentally. So I went through a pretty major change in rearranging the system so I have more optimal systems to do my recordings on. I bought a new Elgato Face webcam. You'll see the video, at least of myself, is higher quality, and in future videos I'll be able to do things like blur the background and, you know, produce a higher quality video. Of course, the desktop recording is the same, but I just wanted to share now the results that have passed in those 2 weeks, because despite a lot of the work that I've had to do with the office and get resettled, I've been doing a lot of GSA website contact campaigns. And what I have here are 4 systems that I'm logged into that I've been running. And what I want to do is share the results with you from these systems. Now, you can see all my SEO Depot campaigns from my own website here. But in this process, I want you to see some things that began to happen as I progressed through the use of my lists, the paid lists that I purchase. Okay, now I've been purchasing these lists since January, and this is from April. I have not gone through all my lists that I have purchased up until July. But I want you to see here, you see this filtered result? I run these in 100,000 increments. And so I had 55,000 successfully sent, 20,000 that failed, and 25,000 that were filtered. Now the reason they were filtered is because when I run these campaigns for myself, I disallow different projects to send to the same website. Okay? So these are all getting filtered in that process. And what I began to see in my campaigns, you see, I switched. Here I ran a June. Here I ran a June. Here I ran a June. And look at the high rates of filtered. Now, keep something in mind, that these are 4 systems that I've run together, okay, with various lists. Let's just take a quick, I'm going to pop through them here just so you get a sense. See this, you know, March, February, April, USA lists, world lists. Let me keep my focus here. But as I began to see, as I was running lists, these filtered rates going up. Now, what was causing that? That's because the lists that I'm purchasing have duplicates from previous months. Now, bear something in mind. These 4 systems are not sharing that data. So on just one system here, you can see these high quantities. Literally, you know, at best, 1/4 of my lists is run on one machine, because generally it's divided by 4. And if just 1/4, I mean 1/4, yeah, 1/4, 1/4 of my data is being filtered because I've already submitted to those sites, that statistically speaking, these sites, these lists are no longer useful to me. After 6 months, they've run their course, because what I am purchasing and the individual that I purchase from is scraping is not consistently new. He's not checking his new list against his old lists. And so what's happening is, eventually, after about 6 months, you're really getting the majority of the lists that I accumulated in July are already in my lists from January to June. And I tested all of my theories by doing extensive work also with ScrapeBox. Okay, I've been running a lot of ScrapeBox because I am scraping my own list now. And one of the things that I'd really like to do for you guys is I'm about to make those lists available to you on my Dark Marketing website. I believe what I'm going to do is have a monthly subscription, and it will be a 1 million list at $99 a month. However, I'm going to be trying to really create a much higher quality list. And we're going to talk about the list building aspect, because one of the things I've come to realize that Look, even if you're going to run one system for yourself and you want to make your own list, you're going to have to be required to have at least one system dedicated to running ScrapeBox. You're going to be wanting to run that and do different scenarios and test with that. So we'll get into that shortly, but let's stay on track with GSA right now because there's some new things I want to cover about what I learned in the settings process. Okay, now I want to talk about a range of things here and answer a lot of questions that came up in the comments or people contacted me directly about. And in recent weeks, what I've really done is sort of push things to the extremes with these softwares, trying different scenarios. In my last GSA video, I outlined about, adding more free sources in the settings for scraping proxies. I now believe that's not a good approach. And probably some of the ones that they have set by default are resources where you tend to get better ones. But what I neglected to pick up on immediately was a lot of those IP addresses are contaminated. They're already banned IPs because other people are scraping them for the same purposes. And, in my work with my clients, and I have a couple of very large clients where I'm much more involved with the management of their systems. And so when there are things that are going wrong, like externally out in the world, and they think it's something to do with their website, I have to track those issues down and realize what's really going on. Like, for example, since the war in Ukraine and Russia, and of course, obviously, tensions with China and Taiwan, the internet's been in a bit of chaos. In the most regard, Russia has been segregated from most of the world, and in many respects, China as well. And many of those people have to get on VPNs to get outside the USA. Now, just on a personal note, I happen to have probably about 8 friends from Russia because I play a video game and we've got a community of people around the world. But since the war broke out in Ukraine, we've had little to no contact with any of them because they can't even connect on Facebook. And on the few occasions that someone does reach out to me, they're on a VPN. I also recognize, like with my clients, with their contact forms that have filtering systems to protect against these sort of very things that we're employing here, that's been able to observe, what's really, going on, the best mechanic to try to bypass some of these systems. But in those processes, what I've also learned, a lot of people out there, the client, the user is a legitimate user who's on a VPN or doesn't have a static IP address, and he gets blocked from being able to submit to a contact form because he's temporarily blacklisted or the IP is banned. Now, some of those bans only last 2 or 3 hours. Some last as much as up to 72 hours if they are not static IP addresses. Static IP addresses incur generally higher penalties, over time. But because every IP address is designated as either static or dynamic, if it's dynamic and it's constantly being assigned to other people, the penalties only go 72 hours at the most. So all of that being said, one of the things I may have done wrong when I started to change to get more sources for proxies, what was already happening is the proxies were already too much overuse from people, using them for nefarious purposes, and not for this, contact form managers. There's a lot more nefarious purposes for people to use IP addresses for and try to steal them out of the public domain freely. So as things progressed, I began to realize this is now becoming a much bigger issue over time, because back in December, January, even February, I ran completely fine just scraping free proxies. And I didn't need to use ever paid proxies on GSA website contact. It just, was not even on my radar until I started to see my filtering going up and some of my failure rates really increasing here. Like you could see, I ran 42,000 and 41,000 failed and 17,000 filtered. So aside from the duplicates that I was incurring, and a lot of duplicates from previous lists. And remember, when I say I divide these up into 4 machines, the list for each month are 2 million. So 1 million is USA, 1 million is world. That's That's really a super high number because it's sort of totally random here. And I started to just realize, mathematically speaking, I said, holy mackerel, these lists are much more duplicated now than I anticipated. And that's why I started putting June lists in so I could verify that and compare the results. A lot of things to keep your head wrapped around. Because one thing you got to understand with these softwares, guys, is that things are always changing, and when they change, you have to adapt with them. And whatever it takes, proxies, paid proxies, even with that, you need to be shopping around all the time. So let me just share the proxies that I'm using. I found this great company, Proxies. They got great prices for HTTPS proxies. You're not going to find a better price than this. In fact, I recently just upgraded to 7,500 proxies because I'm using these for ScrapeBox and for GSA website contact. That gives me a really nice number. I'll leave a link in the description. I signed up as an affiliate, so if you decide to use them, I originally started with this 2,500, which was just fantastic, and I was using that for 6 weeks. And just several days ago, I upgraded. Now, for IPv6 proxies, this is for X-Evil, okay? Now, IPv6 are generally more expensive, okay? But they work very well with X-Evil. They're generally much less expensive, I'm sorry. It's the HTTPs that are more expensive. And you're going to find when you shop around with these companies for other proxies, like there's another decent proxy company, and this one I like to use if I just want to test something, because some of these companies, you can get proxies just for a day, a week, 2 weeks, and that's really nice, so you don't have to lock yourself in. If you know, hey, I'm only going to be running my softwares for the next week, and then I can't run for so many weeks, you might be better off just buying a range, buying a higher quantity for a short period of time from this company, and they've got a range, HTTPS, IPv6, SOCKS 5, etc., and a lot of good things there. Also, I have used them. I'm not an affiliate with them. I'm also going to put a link for these guys. I'm an affiliate. This is who I use for my IPv6. And I stuck with them because I was having problems, but when I contacted them, the problem turned out to be on their end, and they resolved it for me, gave me a free month, and didn't bill me for the last month because I said I virtually, couldn't even use them. And everything worked so good afterwards that now I've upgraded. I'm using the silver plan, 4,500. And the reason is, so this way I have separate IPs for my capture breaker, X-Evil, which I run with other softwares aside from GSA website contact, and separate IP addresses for HTTP, which I'm using for the GSA website contact, and I use them for ScrapeBox on other systems. And so what I have found over time, because that, I ran a good high quantity of campaigns for SEO Depot in recent weeks, and I was just not seeing, I was getting a lot of visitor activity, but not seeing the real, level of activity of inquiry and purchase. And then, it doesn't take long for your eye to start catching these high filtering numbers and high failures. I was like, holy mackerel, because normally I have a success rate of 4 to 1, and that's what you should be looking for. And so I just said, let me just, change everything in my setups. Now, people have also been asking me about affiliate marketing. So I am doing an affiliate marketing project for Autoblogging Pro, which is a service that integrates with ChatGPT's API and allows you to put a WordPress plugin in your website. You give it the parameters for the articles you want it to create, it creates them, and bada bing, bada boom, it loads them right into your website. So I'm promoting them as running it to test out the whole thing. Even though I'm not technically an affiliate marketer, I'm using an affiliate link. The whole tracking process. And when I say I'm not technically, because they want me as more of a marketing partner. But that being said, I want to just share the direct results with you. And here, I ran some campaigns. So I started with January. On other ones, I have 1, 2, 3. That's because I take a list and I break it into increments of 100,000. So here we could see now I'm running with private proxies, 80,000 sent, 18,000 failed. That is beautiful, okay? 4-2-1, that's what we want. Let's take a look at those project settings. In my submission, I've got check using proxies configure. What you have to do when you have those free proxies that you have scraped already in here, when you go into your options, uncheck this, that turns everything off. Just by unchecking this. Go to your list, select all, and clear everything. Then go down here and use this tool to import a new list. With XEvil, once you've got that started, you're going to select reCAPTCHA up here, and here is where you're going to select first the type of proxy, and you see IPv6 does not work with this, okay? I have gone through every option and run various types for this. HTTPS, I'm using the Proxy Scrape company for this. Now, every company is different, okay? When you shop around for proxies, one of the best places to shop is actually on YouTube and look at who is talking about what. Because there's always new companies and new deals that come available, and they're not all priced that are good to go, let me tell you. And some of them have caveats where they limit you by bandwidth, or they want to charge you by bandwidth. Those are not the kind of services you want. You want people that say, hey, these are for scraping, and you know that you can get the really competitive pricing. And as of today, I haven't seen anyone that even comes close to Proxy Scrape with its pricing. However, when you use proxies, they need to be authenticated. So with Proxy Scrape, they do not have username and password. They will go into even though all of the options, when you go here to do an import with GSA, as I just outlined before in the project, it'll say login name, user, doesn't matter. You just give it the file which just has the IP and the ports. And it takes it fine, it runs fine, and these are the big success rates I've had. So I'm back in business and running strong. Now, at the same time, over here, when I say I'm also running strong, I've got my max thread rates up to 128 when I'm running, and I'm also over here running, oh, sorry, my bad, options, miscellaneous. I've been running my threads 50 or 60. That's a very high rate for this. You'll run 100,000 lists in 24 hours. I've got this process working so good right now that instead of running on 4 machines, I'm now just running Autoblogging Pro on 1 machine. Because ultimately, I'm just using those IP addresses and spreading them across 3 machines. To sort of get optimal results the way I was operating before, I also have to run at a slower rate. And this is what you also need to understand is that, you know, if you run down here at like 20, even 30, it's going to go slower. Generally, I've run around 30, and you know, my other settings with scraping proxies, I wasn't hammering away at the rates. I would run my reCAPTCHA at 32, okay? And so this process combined with retries, remember, what happens is when you're attempting to say, like, this is breaking CAPTCHAs, and you have a certain amount of retries, and you're telling it here in your settings, like the CAPTCHA services. Oh, I'm not running it from here. I'm doing it. Actually, my CAPTCHA settings are in my project settings. So if we go to my project settings, and here is where I'm configuring GSA. So I'm having GSA retry twice, then it goes to XEvil, and XEvil will retry twice currently. Sometimes I run it 3 times. But remember something, in this process, what's happening is that the faster you run, the faster you're going to burn up IP addresses. Many of these little banned IPs that will show up in the output of the reCAPTCHA that comes up down here, and I'm going to show that shortly because I'm going to start one back up in a few minutes, and then we'll actually see it running live. But when you see like banned IP, it's generally only banned for the capture for like 2 to 3 hours. So jacking up your rates, trying to find the optimal setting, because mostly I've told people, hey, if you're going to run these, you need to be running multiple copies. And really, if you want to make big money at some things, that's just the way it is. You're going to have to be in the business of running these like as if you were mining for Bitcoin. However, in this process, I really worked out very efficient ways with paid proxies that I'm going to be able to run these at good rates and do 100,000 in 24 hours successfully. And that's a nice rate compared to, it was taking me about 72 hours to run 100,000 previously. So this is much more efficient, allows me to be much more concentrated in my approach and controlled over, even better control over all my list management, that I'll be able to condense them to certain machines, running certain projects only on certain machines. And that works good for me. So even if you just have one dedicated machine for GSA, then you can take this approach that I am outlining here and go with the big proxies. You want high numbers, and especially, let's say you're going to be using this, your other secondary main tool is going to be ScrapeBox, because you want to be able to make some measure of list on your own, both using possibly GSA and using ScrapeBox. You're going to want ScrapeBox on the other machine, and you're going to be doing your list management and trying to put together your list over there to get them into these systems over here while these are running. So you could really have a nice 2-system setup here and keep a GSA website contact running pretty much around the clock with this approach, where, as I said, I turn these up to like 128, although 64 is pretty sufficient. And in my project settings, for the system, I've been generally running about 60. Sometimes, I keep my eye on it. If I start seeing that I'm seeing too many errors, I'll tone it down a little bit. But generally, I'm running 50, 60, even 70 threads, and the thing is just running like a dream, and I'm completing campaigns in 24 hours, which is just with very high submission success rates. Now, I know people have been asking me about where do I get things to promote, okay? So I just want you to sort of see the results, because I've only run since this just started Friday. So from Friday today till Monday, I've run 600,000. The first 2 that I started off did not run well until I brought in the whole paid proxy service. But the second 4 campaigns ran with a 4-to-1 ratio. It was beautiful. So that being said, let's take a look at the actual results of what got brought up with that. Now, this is my account with them. I'm logged in, and this is my affiliate section. So let's just refresh it. Oh, look at that. First one, first paid, just a few days. I've had 16 referrals. Now, what is 16 referrals? What does that mean? I can't pull it up on the screen, but hang on. I got the prices on a second screen over here so I could refer to them, because once the browser detects who I am, I can't get the pricing page. So, 16 referrals. What they have done is they have changed their pricing model. So, you can get lifetime free 4 articles a month. And that is like a really good deal to kind of get yourself indoctrinated into this, because for some people, hey, if I can just get 1 decent article a week, that's great. However, you're not always every article is going to be perfect, so it's going to need more work, or you might feel it's not the right thing. And that's why, with their basic plan is $29 a month, and it gives you 70 articles. That's really good, because out of that, I've found with my experience, I'm running a specific niche, letting it create on my blog site, and it's doing a pretty good job, but I'm keeping it simple. It's more about cooking and recipes, and that works really well. And this is kind of exciting that I just had 1 sale pending, amount $8.07. So we see the end result, but I skipped a step here. So let me just take a look at my bit.ly where we're tracking the link. Now, when I first started this campaign, I only had 38 clicks showing and 38 total engagements, and that came from links on the video that I did a review on this product. And now, from Friday till today, we've pretty much had over 700. So just to give you some real world logistics about what's going on here, I've run 6 campaigns of 600,000. The first 2, I only had a 1-to-1 ratio of success, so it was low. But on the second 4, I had 4-to-1 ratios of success, basically, as you can see here. Same thing, 78 to 19, 78 to 20, 80 to 18. Those are really good success rates for getting sent to the forums. But not everything is for everyone. There's people out there that are not going to necessarily say, well, I don't do blogs, or they just brain fart right over it, not realizing that it doesn't matter who you are. I don't care if you're just a small static website and you do auto repair services or appliance repair or plumbing or something that's very local, and you've got a website and you're competing. You're not just competing with the other local guys. You're usually competing with a couple of major players that have the technicians that service in the area. And one thing I've analyzed is that it doesn't matter how small the region is that your website is audiences to. The guys with the blogs dominate the search results locally, okay? And so that's why it's so important to have content. And this is a one-size-fits-all product if they pick up on that. Because this is the strategy that I tell my clients. You need to be working on your content. When they sign up for backlinking, it's not a magic bullet. There's so much you can do with your website, and you're going to need to keep it updated, but you need to create the content that really drives the whole process of the backlinking. But this video is about GSA website contact and affiliate marketing, and so you want to see some real-world results. Now, this is a product that's going to take some time. I didn't expect to even see sales for a few more days potentially, but what we're seeing here is that at least once people get in, and now I'm in a lot of contact with them and giving them advice on, what you do with people after they join. And so at some point, they'll be looking to take those free customers and offer them perhaps some other discount to get them into the paid service. Understand? So it really is a winning thing in that regard. Now, just after running 6 campaigns and getting 1 sale in just 3, started Friday, it's just only Monday morning here, that's pretty good because this is a product that needs time. People have to get signed up. It's relatively simple. The whole process is very simple, but where I think the snag is not everybody is familiar with ChatGPT yet and getting an API key. And they offer instruction for all that. And so, there's going to be a range of people with different skill sets, and they're going to have to kind of get through that process of how to really, get that simple thing down, get a key, get paid, bada bing, bada boom, and slap it in. It's really a pretty simple thing, but everything is easy when you know. And for most people, ChatGPT, it's a leap, okay? But good engagement here, a lot of clicks, and actually got a sale. That's a home run, okay? And at the same time, all of these campaigns, as I start to run this, they are going to get it's brand recognition, big brand recognition, because there are competitors. In fact, they have a direct competitor, Autoblogging.ai, and they are Autoblogging Pro. So, and there's some other guys out there that are all breaking into the scene because there is just an unbelievable wealth of AI-related products. And so, for those of you that are asking me, let me tell you, my firm belief is you're not going to really do dick with Digistore 24 or ClickBank. You're going to get, maybe if you're lucky, you're going to get 1 or 2 sales a month. It's barely going to cover your operational cost. What you want to do is have products that, go out, and what I would be doing is looking at stuff that's for AI. So let me just stop things here for a second. Let's see what I can pull up. Now, what I would do, if I'm looking for more affiliate sources that I can plug into with this approach, I'd go on YouTube and search things like AI SaaS, SaaS. And you get a lot of videos about guys that are telling you how to make them, but they're also talking about their own products. and search for these new startups, okay? Because there are dozens and dozens of them. And what these guys are all doing are making sites and services like this, where you need the ChatGPT API key, which is a very nominal cost. I mean, I think you put like $20 in, and you get a lot of bang for your buck. I've got it plugged into this system. I've got it plugged into Ranker X now and generating articles, and some really good stuff going on there. So that being said, I would be looking for these type of platforms that offer services and look for things that relate to actually people can use for their websites. A general overall thing that it's a one size fit all. Hey, if you got a website, you're going to probably need this type of service. Or maybe there's a large market for something, and you can tap into that market by scraping those source websites, either with GSA website contact or with ScrapeBox. And just a quick thing there, I'm dying to get into the Ranker X video because it's the next level. And SEO Autopilot product is being replaced with, I don't know if they're going to phase it out because I've got a lifetime license, but what they're doing is SEO Neo. I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole with this, but they basically turned the SEO Autopilot into a SaaS, as a service that you do it through their website. And it's a bit more pricey because they want to get you for like $800 a year. So I'm not sure what the future of SEO Autopilot is, but Ranker X is my preferred tool to SEO Autopilot, okay? And that video is coming. So that being said, if you're looking for good affiliate sources, you want to catch the trend. And what's the trend? The trend is ChatGPT. And when you start seeing some of the things and start doing some searches, or hey, SaaS ideas, because there's guys out there that are just like saying all these great ideas and how you could start your own SaaS, then get on to Google. Find those companies, find the affiliates. I'm not sure if you can just do it as simply as that. But let's just see. Let's just see what Google's AI helps us with. Oops. Oh yeah. Not too helpful there, are you, buddy? Okay. Get impact. SaaS affiliate program. Grow your sales with impact. Find recruit. SaaS affiliate program. Solutions. Product. No, these are not what I'm looking for, really. But what you want to find is a service that is selling to people, because you know what the problem is with a lot of these companies that start just like these guys, Autoblogging Pro, is they are new and they don't have SEO search results yet, and that takes time. So you're only up and running a few months. You need 3 to 6 months just to start to get traction, and you don't really start to bear fruit until you're like a year in. Unless, of course, you're really taking things to the next level. You can't just, most people are focused on the aspect of building their product and making it work, and, creating blogs and content. That is all a critical thing. And of course, that's what makes this such a great product to promote. But those are the type of in the vein that I would look for things that you're going to be able to find products that revolve around ChatGPT and SaaS services that people are creating that make life easier for companies, businesses, and most especially websites. Because if you're going to do affiliate marketing, you want something that you could say, hey, this is for people with websites, period. It doesn't matter who you are or what your business model is. It's more about websites, SEO, some service tracking, something that helps them manage their businesses better. That's the things that I would look for. You've got to find those gems and a little bit of research. You sit down for a while, you grab your iPad like I like to do, and just, play the word game, because that's good exercise to find the right things that lead you through searching effectively. You've got to, do a little tomfoolery with your searching sometimes to find those good sources. But get on, find the blogs about them. That's another way. Get on YouTube. Get out there. It won't take you long. You find something that is, like I said, a one-size-fits-all. Bada bing, bada boom. You can be off generating something good. Now, in the time between the last take in this video and this take, when I logged in and saw this sale, my messaging started going off because it must have just occurred, and the guys at Autoblogging Pro were like, holy mackerel, we got a sale already. And they're very happy because they're seeing the traffic that they're getting in just 3 days, the referrals, that sign-ups for free to give it a try, and now a purchase. So we're just getting a little warmed up, and at this point I'll be perfecting my process. So let me take this opportunity and show you how I'm going to clone this campaign and start a new one with it. Now let me share my process with you. I might have outlined this before, but I'm going to duplicate this project. I uncheck all of these. I say yes, then I select it, and I select rename. And 6 was the last one I ran, and now I'm going to be going to list 7. So now I have to import list 7. And I keep my lists in here, and I'm running from January. Where's January? January here. These are my re-verified lists. These were lists that I ran from January, and let me find number 7. But I took them, ran them through ScrapeBox, re-verified what was still good and not good, and removed any bad ones that are no longer active, and cleaned the list. So they're a little bit smaller sometimes, but because most of the lists, they wind up being about 100,000 plus 400 or 500, and here I wound up with a little less, so you lose a 400 or 500 in the cleaning since then, but still a good list. And I haven't used it. This is now not running as myself, but a completely random scenario in the sense of my project settings. Okay? And because I cloned it, all of my settings for my proxies will remain, okay? All my settings for my captures. But one thing I wanted to do is I wanted to change these to 3 this time. And one thing is, it's easier to keep track of when you only have 1 or 2 systems, but I have 30 systems in here, and I have to know everything that's going on. And not only know everything that's happening on a different machine, but what the specifics of that machine are. So I have a very sort of mad scientist sort of maniacal approach to these sort of things, but it works for me. But I have to, that's why my last 2 weeks were so difficult in here, because if I move even just 2 systems, just trying to get my brain wrapped around everything and where something's supposed to be in a pinch, I find myself on the wrong system. So that being said, I'm basically ready to run. And just a reminder, before you start up, you want to start all of these in administrator mode. So anytime I start a product, I right click on it, I start running as administrator. So all of these are running as administrator. I have my authorization. I'm logged in for my X-Evil. I've got all green lights. I'm good to go. Now I am not running a VPN. And that's because the IP addresses that I'm using from Proxies require IP verification. So there's 2 things I can do. I can run a VPN, and I have, and I can take that VPN and use that address, log into Proxies, and I can add that as an additional IP address beyond my own, and run it like that. And I have to just make sure it registers, because if it doesn't, for any reason, sometimes with the VPNs it's a little tricky. I don't recommend ExpressVPN, but it actually worked very well with Surfshark by setting it to a static IP address. Surfshark has that static IP address setting, and so that's kind of useful if you just want to have that extra layer of protection. But because I have so many proxies and things, I've been running without any VPN and just letting it authenticate from my own IP address and keeping a check, and I've had no issues with my IP address showing up under any blacklisting. So that being said, I'm ready to start. And so now I'm going to select start, send a message, because that's all I'm doing. And just so you guys see my message, here it is. Autoblogging Pro has arrived and now makes creating blog content for your site. Yeesh. And see that? I'm using a tag in there. That's their domain. So when they get it, they see their URL in here. Is easier than ever and affordable. Autoblogging Pro is combined with ChatGPT API, can create a range of content based on your specifications and using the WordPress plugin. Automatically uploads the new article complete with image, ready to edit and go live quickly. I show the pricing structure. This is my bit.ly link for tracking. Build your ad revenues and SEO market share with Autoblogging Pro. Setup is easy, fast and easy with great technical support. Try it free. I should say try it free for life, but it is what it is and it's running. And we see now our things are running over here, and let's take a look at, this is the real thing. This is what I got to keep up in the window. So there's two things that I'm watching while these things are running. And that's this. And let me make sure what my speed is here. Yes, I'm at 60. That's good. Now, bad site key, that's going to happen. That's just basically, it cannot break that captcha. And let's just take a look here on my settings for this. Oh, I don't want to be on root. I want to be on root captcha. Okay. And actually, one thing I meant to do was reactivate. I wanted to put my 2 captcha in here as well. I have a little bit left in the account, but unfortunately this one started already. Maybe later I'll mess back around with it. We'll see what happens. But I don't need to, you don't need to observe this window, and you don't really need to observe this when they're running. The main 2 things you want to keep your eye on of what's going on here when these are running is this. And the more green you see, the better. Bad site key, you're not going to be able to get around all the time. However, it's the banned IP, or if you lose your internet connection and the thing keeps running blindly, those are things you want to watch for. And the rest is just your success rate, which over here, we're just getting started. I'm 60 to 27, so right now I'm 2 to 1, but we'll give it a chance and we'll see how it goes. And maybe actually, one thing I found when I was cranking these up, I can really get a lot, but what winds up happening is you start to burn up the IP addresses more. But because I'm only running this one system, I've got 7,500 IP addresses rotating over here and another 4,500 IP addresses for IPv6 with Xevil rotating over here. So it's pretty much kind of a, it's a winning scenario in that regard. This is going to run like a rock. And this is a setup and scenario that can make money on a single system. Okay? So that being said, let's go back to talking about affiliate marketing for a second, because something important there that you need to cover in your research aspects and to take into account the bigger approach, which really is the approach of this whole channel, because all of the things that we do here tie in together. So let's just take a look at the basic idea. If you get an opportunity, take a look at this guy, Vid Society, okay? And he makes these videos on all sorts of SEO and all things that sort of sit in the realm of kind of things that I do, but not in the sense, he doesn't do like software training like GSA, but he does do a lot of SaaS related type products and plugins, and they're all affiliate marketing related. He is promoting these products, every one as an affiliate. So to successfully do things, in my opinion, it's a 3-part process. If you really want to be a successful affiliate marketer, you need a website. Maybe it's just a blog site like I got that you start with, and you shape your content for that blog site. Is where, it doesn't have to be a blog site necessarily, but in the sense that it's sort of maybe category based or has some structure that you want to promote affiliate products. So of course a blog is a good approach because you need to have a place for your funnel or landing pages potentially. If you want to really get the best results in affiliate marketing, you're not going to be just dropping a link in this example like I'm doing. In the case with these guys at Autoblogging Pro, I'm in communication with them and giving them a lot of marketing direction. So we're going to be moving on to some other phases of things to help them get some more traction, do other things with social media and using videos and blogs and the whole approach and backlinking and allowing the time. But right now, the fast mechanism for them to get new business is through this software. So this is where the really big opportunities are in this sort of sphere using GSA website contact. Because you want to find those people that are not yet able to get that traction and be able to provide affiliate. Now, what this gentleman does is, he often is going to pay at some point for each product that he's demonstrating and try to take you through so that you understand the whole process. But what I want you to see is beyond his content is his approach that he's using YouTube. He's got websites, different approaches to manage his affiliates. He's not doing GSA website contact. Do you understand? If he is, I'm not aware of it. I've never seen a video on it, nor am I aware that he's using really any of these products. But his whole thing is a multilateral approach in the sense that he's either using the product that he's demonstrating, he's using web pages, he's using YouTube, but it's all affiliate. And I can assure you, this guy is doing pretty good with these views and the frequency of videos that he puts out. Every couple of days, he's got videos every day, and he's got a nice flow going. He does a decent video, and he's generating sales. And over time, he's just moving from the next project to the next project and giving each one time. And as his channel grows, and look, he's got 47,000 subscribers. He gets, I'm sure, lots of views. That being said, that's his approach. Combine it with the other things. GSA, right? Website contact. Now you can actually be marketing more directly to your own things, and also providing a buffer with some resources. Because look, when you go to get signed on with some of these affiliate companies, they don't just always automatically approve you. You're going to find there's ones that are going to have questions. They're going to say, well, how are you going to promote us? They might frown upon the use of GSA website contact. So if you say, hey, I've got a blog and a YouTube channel where I do demonstration videos, and anything you do with GSA website contact, now you're making your bit.ly short link go to your website, and you're creating that safety barrier between you and them. You're taking them to your thing, your article, your funnel pages, and leading them into the product that way. You're talking about a much bigger home run. Because also when you do funnel pages for affiliate products, you can sometimes do a better presentation than their presentation. So, that being said, that's some of the things you really need to kind of take into the big picture, because the devil's in the details of every aspect of this. So finding good affiliates to promote is key. In this example, you're seeing I'm doing the most basic approach with them, in the sense that I'm just making a thing for the contact form, a message, a subject line, and let's just say, let's see what my subject line looks to. Let's go in here. My subject line reads as follows. Autoblogging Pro free lifetime is now available to automate blog content creation. Simple, free lifetime. That gets them to look at the message, because most likely what's going to happen is this gets sent to them as an email in the final thing after the contact form. And bada bing, bada boom. If it catches their attention enough, at least their curiosity to look at it. So right now, I guess I could say, let's refresh my numbers here. 749. 750, okay, and I just started up a campaign, so we'll see how that goes. So out of 750, I've gotten 16 referrals, okay? So that means I'm doing about, we'll start this, we can maybe see if this is a statistic that's going to form. Am I going to see about 15 referrals out of every 750 clicks, give or take? And out of that, am I going to see potentially one customer? And then there's rollover time, because of course in the referral with the free trial, they'll take time, they may get going, they may not become paying customers for several weeks yet. So there'll be a follow along process, as hopefully the idea is to build momentum. Now, in this case, I am actually looking at starting another channel, which is going to cover like, I'm having a little hard time to decide because I don't want to spread myself too thin, but it'll be like 10-minute videos, be a lot of AI related things, and obviously to me it's all about making money and affiliate things where I might cover other ideas, topics quickly in 10-minute videos and utilize that to help build a base of other followings that I can use for clients and various things. That being said, I might make some videos where I could just, hey, I can pop some good videos on for things like this, affiliate products I'm promoting, much in the same vein, like this guy has done very successfully, okay? And that's to have that channel tie into a website. Not necessarily my blog site. I have other domains that actually revolve around the top 10 brand, and that still allow me to do top 10 reviews. I have top 10.shop, top 10, I have a couple of top 10s, top 10.biz, and these allow me a platform, other platforms, to be able to say, I don't have to put it on a main website that I want to build big SEO, but rather use it to be the punching bag. That I'm not concerned about SEO, but I can put all of the final sale aspect or anything that's going to carry a negative SEO impact into that. That's the delivery, where I want to deliver my bomb, basically, and not have to worry about any blowback from other aspects. So you want to keep your SEO related website a little bit separate from the thing that where you really want to plant your affiliate thing. So even if you're doing blog, you got your blog site, have a separate site that's sort of on the same brand so that you can direct from that into your actual money site that is where you don't want to be concerned about, hey, if I'm going to get burned with any SEO or any negative aspects. Those are things we got to talk about a little bit more, but mostly in our approach, that doesn't happen to us. But when you're talking about affiliate marketing, that's when you got to be a little bit more careful. If you are, the benefits of being the receiver first of the traffic from, say, contact management software is GSA, is that you will be able to really take much greater control over that process, like with funnel marketing. And if you don't know what funnel marketing is, just look it up on YouTube, and there's a lot of platforms for that. Then there's a lot of aspects to affiliate. If you're just looking for this simple approach, well then look for the companies that are similar. I'm not recommending that you do Autoblogging Pro for the reason that I'm doing it. And I plan to be doing, like 5 million postings for them in the next, however many weeks, and I'll be using the list that I purchased and new list that I'm making, and I don't want anyone buying lists from me and doing the same product, because you're just going to be, you're not going to have success. They've already been exposed to it. You want to keep it unique in that regard. So I that's why I don't promote people to do SEO Depot, become my affiliate. Even though I have an affiliate program. That's because I'm leading the charge with that right now. And until I have run my course with doing all that I need to do, and then I want to shift my time and resources to just focusing on the website aspects more and not have to do any contact management. I've got SEO traction taking place and other things, and there'll be more YouTube videos for that, getting those 3 pieces, the website, the blog, the YouTube, and the backlinking. So with that, I don't recommend, because you guys will be wasting your time. I'm already blasting out millions of people with that. So what you want to do is find unique products that you can tap into. You have a legitimate site that you can show them, or a YouTube channel and a YouTube channel is really enough to say, hey, I got a YouTube channel, I want to do a review on this, bada bing, bada boom, and usually you're in no problem. But those are like the kind of the other pieces you want to think about when you're doing affiliate marketing. And here, I'm doing this where I'm acting as a marketing partner and providing other services for them. So this is just the means of the platform to get this started. I did their affiliate thing, and so we'll see how this goes. But now I have to step back and help them with some really solid blog articles, both on my sites about it and on their sites, to help them, get the feel of, not everybody knows they know what they got and they know it's good and they've got a great product here. And it unexpectedly even surprised me. I was kind of, for a little bit, I said, maybe this isn't the right thing. And then, once I got a little bit perfected with it, I was like, this is really a home run. And especially for the guy that just needs to keep a flow of articles going. And I really feel it works best if you keep your content about a specific sort of genre, range of things in a certain genre. What I did, like I said, is some cooking and baking things that go into categories on my blog site, and it's working fantastic. I'm backlogged with getting them posted. But the quality, and because, for that type of thing, they don't need to be so overly extensive. And then I'll go in and at some point, I'm going to work some extra additional SEO magic where I'll expand on those, and I'll have a whole phase where I'll go through the whole site and really try to rework all the content. But that being said, if you're looking for that turnkey kind of thing, find those new startups, those SaaS, System as a Service, or Software as a Service, and frequently almost capitalizing on AI and chat GPT and its API key. And once you get something going with that, then this looks good. Now, 3 days, just one sale, $8 doesn't sound like, I'm going to be getting rich quick, right? However, with some perfecting here, this could do really well, because not everything is in my hands. Like what goes on with their website and how they promote it and explain the process and try to make it as simple as possible, and having good tech support to get over issues. I notice here I'm seeing a lot of site key errors. But sometimes when that happens, what I do is if it goes on too long, I just break in here. I'll try changing this and put to capture and just let it go like that and see if my rate picks up. Because that's not a problem with the IP address. And very quickly, before I forget about that, why do I use two different ones aside from the cost? There are differences. The IPv6 proxies, they have different settings inside. Like you can log in and you can basically do a reboot, and they'll reassign you new ports, and that makes them like fresh addresses all over again. And so you can kind of give them a reboot. And they have other features that work well with like API keys, or if you want them rotating constantly, you can set timings, and there's a lot of different things. And you can authenticate by IP address, or you can authenticate by username and password, which is my preference. However, with the HTTP proxies from ProxyScrape, you have to authenticate the IP address. They don't have username and password option. So you start to understand there's some differences there. And yes, can you use just this guy for both? Yes, you could do that and divide your proxies up. You don't want to, overly kill it. I got a high quantity because I'm using them not just for GSA contact, but for ScrapeBox setups too as well. ScrapeBox does not use IPv6. So just wanted to, before I lose my train of thought on that, to get back on topic, you want to choose things that they work. It's always a good idea. Don't just blindly promote something. Rather, you want to test it. You want to know the ins and outs of it a little bit, at the very least, to decide, is this a good product? Do these guys have good tech support? Is this easy to understand? Or is this going to be a complex nightmare for the person that I'm sending it to, and they're just not that tech savvy? They're never going to make it work. You want products that's sort of very user friendly, and that is what the vast majority of SaaS services are about. Systems and services as a software, or softwares as a service. And that whole process, that's kind of key. Getting the right things. There's a lot of good things out there. You do a little homework and you start that process. This guy is a fantastic example of that. There's all sorts of things out there, and you got to look at what other people are talking about. Find some good things. Not necessarily things that he's promoted here are bad things for you to promote, because like I said, he's not using GSA website contact, and But he's got a lot of ChatGPT, a lot of hot topic stuff that he's doing, like whatever's going on. And a lot of it, I've seen like backlinking plugins from him and things like that. So some interesting stuff. But it's the idea of him is just to give you the idea of how to look at things, how he does things to do affiliate things. And he tries to share like little examples of possibilities. You want to take some of those ideas and see how you can translate those into GSA, website contact. Now, just a quick other point on these proxies. I talked about, I've got 4,500 IPv6 and 7,500 HTTP. That's me. I got a big operation here. If you're wondering, well, what's good for me? Take the minimal package. HTTP, you get 2,500 for $55. That's a winner. You're going to be able to use that both for your GSA website contact and a copy of ScrapeBox and be running both of them 24/7. With the IPv6, I recommend that you at least get the 1500 IPv6 with cold proxy. I'm going to have links in the description below on both of them. And go with these guys because they do a good thing. And you see, as I slow my rates down, and I can tell that my thing is running a little bit slower, my systems, because what happens is, see these processing, this will fill up, and sometimes it's so many processing that I don't see the results. I have to scroll down a little bit to see what's going on. And I like to see them a little bit better, but while I'm doing it, I'm watching, and right now I'm not doing too bad, but it looks like I'm doing 2-to-1 for some reason. Not sure why. I'm going to have to take a look at that after I get off of here. Check out what's going on with the setup. Did something go awry? I'm not sure yet, but we'll figure that out. And these are part of the things that happen. Why am I suddenly, 1362 to 774 fails? That's a 2-to-1 success rate. Why am I suddenly having a low success rate? And so I'll have to examine that. And that's part of the process. Understand, when you're running campaigns, you could be running, and I might start another campaign on another machine, and same IP addresses on both systems, everything, and it's not flying. Something's, and it's running great over there, and it's not over here, and that's when you got to really take some time to think deep and go through every setting, and you got to also look at what's going on here. This thing is telling us a lot of what's happening when things are failed. And also in here, we see our IP addresses that were up. I don't want to show all my stuff. But, what it's actually telling us stuff that we need to see. And we can see the domains on the left, the actual URLs. Because sometimes, hey, look, I didn't actually have the contact form. But it still got it and found it anyway and got that placed. So you see? So little things you learn where you're wondering, is that really, sometimes is it going through? Yes, I'm sure there are many of these that are being successfully registered or sent, but some spam systems are just simply capturing them, and the end user is not getting them. However, we're getting good number of results from these campaigns. I'm getting good click-through rates in just a few days from these campaigns, and that I already got to purchase so early, because I generally don't expect that. There are, you get a little luck sometimes. You get something the first day or two. I told them, guys, don't get excited yet because you don't really know. You feel excited in the beginning because you've got, you just saw one sale very early, and then all of a sudden it's cold. And then all of a sudden, bada boom, boom, boom. And then they just start to trickle in. And, some of these people that are have signed up for referrals suddenly become they start to become paid customers. Once they get the hang of it and they realize, 4 articles isn't enough. $29 a month is a very reasonable price to have 70 blogs automated into their website, because as we learn doing this channel, we've got to create content. We've got to create content for our websites. We have to create content for our backlinking. So same thing. We understand that there's an involved process with ChatGPT, and to have something like this that takes that big piece of that process and automates it for you, where you just got to log into your website, go to the blog article, and bada bing, bada boom, you are off and running. But that is my main approach for that. And let me just pause the video here and think, was there anything else that I wanted to cover in these videos before I get too far, before I bring it to an end? Now, as it relates to lists, if all goes well, inside the next 2 weeks, I'll have lists available on this website. This site is not technically live. I mean, it's available if you put the domain name in, but it's not fully functional. All the real magic is happening on the back end right now, so I can get set up to make lists available. Now, primarily, here is the approach that I want to take with this. As I've come to realize through the extensive amount of postings that I've done in the last 6 or 7 months, the lists that I am purchasing within 6 months are no longer viable. I've been building up a great resource of my own list, and it's been challenging because ScrapeBox, there's quite a few learning curves on the ins and outs on how to really not only get websites, because even the keyword scraping to get websites is a difficult proposition. You need a lot of keywords to get a lot of sites. And that being said, that's the kind of best approach to try to get the contact forms in the same scraping process. However, when you're using those advanced plugins, like for the Yellow Book pages, you're only going to get the URL of the websites, in which case now you need the contact pages. So I'm also looking at how GSA handles those by doing a check and submit. So I'll be following up on the results with that. But what I want to do is rather make available a whole list, and with a list that's sort of updating month to month. Because your main list, like it's like an archive. Let's say you have 5 million, total. You're only going to be able to use that once for something. But when you go and move on to another product and you're doing affiliate marketing with GSA Website Contact, hey, that list is good to go. Now, in the grand scheme of things, like with my list, I couldn't just go back and rerun a list. From January, I had to take that list and run it through ScrapeBox and verify, do a page check to make sure the pages are still active and get those bad results out. I also did some filtering by exporting the filtered results from GSA Website Contact. That's a whole nother science project, which had me plucking my eyebrows out. So, you constantly find yourself stepping back and trying to look at the big picture of all your file sets and try to work out what is the best approach to managing this. So it seems to me the most viable thing may be to try to acquire 1 million new addresses every month that go into a master database that allows everyone to, other people that to have access to. But unlike other people that just want to go out and say, hey, here's the way to make $1,000 a day, GSA Website Contact, bada bing, bada boom, it's easy, this and that, and buy my list, that you and 500 other guys are burning on the same product. I don't want to tell you what products to promote. I'd rather give you insight into the approaches of how to look for products the same way I think about it, because that's what I'm going to do. I want to throw a few other affiliate things. I've got some open slots. I need to sit down, do a little homework, and the approach I'm going to use is the same one that I outlined to you. Now, there's always a chance someone else is promoting the same thing as you, but that they're promoting it with GSA Website Contact is kind of slim, as most other people that do affiliate marketing are more like the guy from Vid Society or have some other angle or approach. They use blogs primarily. Whatever the case, we're talking about GSA Website Contact. You want to learn how to carve out your own zone and have a list. And I want something that's good for you guys, that if you're going to pay a monthly subscription, you've got access to a nice database that gets you started with several million and 1 million that builds. I'm also working on GSA Search Engine Ranker list. We're going to be doing a lot more GSA Search Engine Ranker. And I'm also working on building full contact list databases by industry, but that is for people who do cold calling and emailing, and so I'm still working the minutiae of some of those things out, but I'm going to see how that goes. That may not actually be available on this website, so I'm just going to work, see how some of these things play out a little bit, but I need to get the main system functioning, and I'll have you guys having some very reliable list that you know that when you take it, it's your list. You're going to be able to run it and manage your copies of that, and utilizing ScrapeBox at the same time. As I'll be outlining again, I'm going to be cycling through these tutorials and covering ScrapeBox so that you understand how I'm, the sort of a little insight into the process. I want you guys to see the real world in here, and then it gets a little more complex. So you often gotta, you gotta step back and you have to assess the entire thing. And it's not easy to manage. Like me, I've got 30 systems. It's not that easy to just, have your head, you're not working on 20 things at once. I have to sit down, get one thing set up, and get a process going. And then I'm working on a set of generally, like just in this example, where there's 4 systems. That's how I like to work. Because when I'm doing something, I'm doing it times 4. Understand? I'm running ScrapeBox. I go over to systems behind me, and I'm running 4 of them. I'm running GSA. Not always. Sometimes there's 2 and there's 3, or 2 of this and a couple of things. But I've got things running all the way around. So I go through phases of work. I'm always running Money Robots because that's my low tier posting thing, and I'm going to the next level. And of course, we're going to be talking about Ranker X next, because that's our next important topic, because it's time to get into the more advanced things, and you're starting to understand more about proxies and that whole process and how we're going to move forward with that. Also, Ranker X has a new feature that lets you put your ChatGPT API key into Ranker X and create the articles using ChatGPT. What could be better than that, right? Because we don't want to use, I still have an Article Forge subscription. I was just checking it this morning because I got to make sure I don't get rebilled. It expires on September 3rd. I got no more use for them because, that's like paying a middleman. I've already got ChatGPT. They are now incorporating OpenAI into their systems. But why do I need them for that process when I'm already doing what I'm doing over here? Now, I've been thinking there might be some value in the sense that if I really wanted to generate like a ton of articles, but they would have to be big ones and it would probably get pricey. But I'm probably going to try a little experiment before the end of the month, try to at least get some value out of it for a little additional testing, since I veered away from that. But the point is that OpenAI, it's so critical to get into ChatGPT and utilize that and watch a lot of videos about it as it pertains to things, because I find myself going through a half a dozen videos every day. And, there's always something I go, this is useful. Maybe not right now, but at some point. And I need to keep my eye on that. And, keep checking various things. Because, look, guys, this is real world. You're seeing a real thing. I'm running it. There are good days. What I like when I look at this and everything is just green. Okay, beautiful. And my success rate, now it's still early on. So I'm not like overly concerned that maybe the rate is off, because sometimes it'll pick back up later, but I'll be keeping my eye on that. But again, real world in the sense that, hey, this is what I've done just in 3 days. Now, it's not huge. This isn't a big thing here. I got 30% of a $29 subscription, $8.70. That's not going to be, changing my world. But the idea is when you do affiliate marketing, you want to build it up over time. You want to keep this going, see what the rates are that I can hit with this. And again, now if I'm using ScrapeBox, let me pause the video. ScrapeBox is an extremely powerful tool. And every day that I'm working with it, I'm learning new things. I'm constantly looking up new information, trying different approaches, and at the same time trying to manage the complexity of different list types. But, you could run a very effective operation with just 2 computers, that if you were going to run them dedicated at 24/7. Of course, my overall recommendation stands. If you really want to start a nice little operation, you want 4 systems, 1 monitor, 1 keyboard, 1 mouse with a switch box. That's it. 4 systems is going to act like 6 or 8 in terms of how many things you can run, because you're not going to always be running the same thing all the time. But even when you're just getting started out, you need 2. Just that's the baseline to get a jump start in. You want to use GSA, you need another one running ScrapeBox, because you want to be always trying to make your own list. Even if you're just, doing something too that you found targeted, that you just get a few thousand a day, 10,000 that you can run back into your GSA website contact, that's when you really start getting that more targeted approach. Right now, I'm just using the general list. But in the meantime, in the background, I'm working with ScrapeBox to go after more targeted segments and of websites that I feel that may have a higher probability to respond to this particular product. Understand? And while, this is not life-shattering yet, like I pointed out. However, we're all very excited because this is an early sale. And I've had 16 referrals. Now, this product has 3 price ranges. It has a Pro at $49 and a Pro Plus at $89, which allows you to create up to 290 articles in a month. That is freaking awesome because, look, let's say you scrap a third of those. That's 200. For $89, and you're probably going to spend about $10 with your chat API key. And so what are you going to get for that? Content, because Google is a hog for new stuff. And if you can work that content, because you're going to have to work it and make it better to do well with it in that SEO thing. But if you wanted to take that approach, and a lot of guys are going to want to do that. And after using this product and realizing this is something you want to grow with, and them having this free option just became a home run for the marketing pitch, because out of those 16 people, the next statistic is how many of those turn into paying customers. How many of the starting customers with a basic plan go on to a Pro plan or a Pro Plus plan. So it's a thing that builds over time. So understanding this, I see huge potential just to do affiliate marketing. And 30% of anything is always a great share of something. So, looking for these gems, and there's a lot of them out there right now. There's no shortage, and they all want to do affiliate because they're not getting they know they got something great, and unless they get some kind of home run thing going on YouTube or whatever, they've got the next 6 months to a year making that hard climb, trying to figure out how to get exposure and SEO. How many great products out there really fail because they don't really get the right kind of marketing strategy going, and they don't get the traction, the exposure, whatever it may be. So that's where this is such a great opportunity, because these guys are going to get brand recognition out of this, and at the same time, I'm going to hopefully demonstrate how I take a basic affiliate marketing product that I'm doing blind at this point. I'm not using, any other resource to complement this, and see where this goes and what is the maximum I can generate out of this over the next 30 days. And we'll talk about those results on the other side of it for sure, because I know you guys are going to be interested. But this is actually an exciting result to just see that first one, because everything starts in the beginning. You get a sale, they trickle in, you learn how to turn things over time into things that will continue to make money. Because remember, that's $8.70, but it's not just $8.70. If he stays on for a year, that's 12 times $8.70. So technically speaking, I've made I made 12 times that number, which is like probably closer to $100. So that's the long-term thing you have to think about with these things. So as we go, that small today builds recurring revenue. We get that monthly. We start seeing bigger ones. Hopefully we start seeing those Pro Plus users, and how I try to figure out how am I going to target the sites, potentially blog sites, right, who want to take advantage of this automation, because they're all in a higher state of competition now because of ChatGPT. So these are the things you want to have your finger on the pulse about if you're looking for new affiliate options. When you go out there, you get on YouTube, it's not that hard to do the searches. You got to learn to sift between the guys that are trying to sell you the get rich scheme quick and who are real people with real products, that there are things that you feel you could tap into with affiliate marketing and say, hey, here's something I can really do with the contact management software that probably nobody else that's doing an affiliate for that is doing. And that is your winning approach. So for me, I'm not just going in to make $8.07. Well, that's really going to be $100 in the course of a year. So I just made $100. And the idea is, how many more hundreds can I make over time? Because it's going to, like a wave, it's going to build up. And hopefully by the end of a year, or more, a year and a half, 18 months, you got a nice substantial revenue stream. And this may be a product I can continue to promote. Perhaps it will have a limited lifespan. Things will change with GPT. I encourage them to be looking to make more features with this, some direction that I gave them, all based on my own personal experience, because I spend a lot of time on these AI products now, and especially ChatGPT. And I think that for this video, it covers kind of everything, that I just wanted to give you a feel and a follow-up about the approach and what you can do realistically. And then, of course, you build on it. You get your setup going. You start to find out that, hey, once you get those first 4 systems going, you can't wait to get the next 4 systems online. But keep something in mind, guys. When you travel down the road, like you want to get into a lot of different things like me, that, these things, they take a mental toll on you. And learning to work efficiently and manage. That's why, and manage them in groups, So when you sit down, I'm not sitting down and we'll do one system. I'm sitting down, I'm setting up 4. That's how I'm operating. Like poker. When I played poker online, I didn't play 1 table. I played 4 tables at a time and maximized my time. That's why I was most effective. Sit down, 4 table sessions. 8 tables would wear on me too quickly. And I want to talk about in my next video, Power Talk. We're going to get back to the other end of the spectrum in SEO and thinking about that in terms of poker math and casino math. Very important into understanding how to really dominate, with SEO and Google results. That's it for this video. But guys, as always, remember, don't forget to give us a like, smash that button, and don't forget to follow us if you want to see more great content. Watch for an announcement. I'll probably soon as I can get the list available. I was hoping to have it in a few days, even if I just got some partial functionality going for you guys that I can get you in. You can make your purchase and start having the list in an organized format. I'm going to get it up for you because I'm getting a lot of requests. And I'm getting a lot of bad site key errors, as you can see here, so I'm going to jump to this. So until the next video, guys, have a great day.